Okay, so when I sat down on my couch and set my camera up, did all that, I was going to do my review of episode 8 of season 8 of The Walking Dead, the mid-season finale. But I really can't do a proper review of the episode because it ended with Carl revealing that he was bitten. And nothing else matters. Honestly. Nothing else that happened in this episode is relevant, as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't matter what I think was done right or not done right, because it's all under an umbrella right now. An umbrella shaped like Carl's bite wound. It's not really on the episode itself. It's a behind-the-scenes factor. It's the decision to do this. Scott Gimple's decision. And I get that he's the showrunner, but I don't feel that gives him the right to do this. I really don't. And here's why. Because Robert Kirkman has said that The Walking Dead is Carl's story. You can look it up. He has said it countless times. He has said that he would sooner kill Rick than kill Carl. And they're both still alive in the comics today. This is honestly, to me, like if... I watch Gotham on Fox. I enjoy it. I think it's a good show. Technically, Bruce Wayne is not the main character on that show. Jim Gordon is, but it's obvious that it's developing into Bruce Wayne's story, into him becoming Batman, obviously. The decision to kill Carl, as far as I'm concerned, is basically what it would be like if Gotham decided to kill off Bruce Wayne. It's one thing to deviate from the source material, which The Walking Dead has done many times. It's another thing to go in a completely different direction. I don't think that this is a decision that Scott Gimple was the one to make. I think he overstepped here. I feel like he had the thought, and he's like, well, I'm in charge, so no one can stop me, so I'm just going to write it, and it's just going to be a thing. And that's that. And it's not sitting right with me. As I've said before, I had heard this rumor that Carl was going to die in the mid-season finale since pretty much the season premiere. I had also heard that Chandler Riggs had started going to college. So I thought, if it does turn out to be true, then that has to be the reason. And if that was the reason, I could have accepted it because, Chandler Riggs isn't a slave. He's a human being who can do whatever he wants with his life. And if he wants to leave the show to pursue an education, I can't get mad at him for that. No one can. Now, if he decided to leave the show to go do another show or a movie or something, then I might have been a little more upset with him. But at the end of the day, it is his life, and he's in control of it, If he wants to leave, he can leave. But that is not what happened. Scott Gimple said as much on Talking Dead, that it was his idea to do it. It was his idea, his call, and that was that. I'm assuming that he didn't really have this discussion with anyone else. He just decided to do it. I'm sure he didn't ask Robert Kirkman or Greg Nicotero or Gale Ann Hurd how they felt about it. Robert Kirkman in particular has been not as vocal this season. I find that kind of interesting. And considering that there is a lawsuit going on between The Walking Dead and AMC, I can't help but wonder if this is something to do with it. I don't know what it's about, but this kind of seems like it could be something worth fighting. Now, I was still willing to maybe give the benefit of the doubt that this was a mutually agreed upon thing, at least between Scott Gimple and Chandler Riggs. But then I read something I'm going to read to you now. This is from Chandler Riggs' father. Someone asked him how he feels about the decision to kill Carl, and here's what it says. Watching Gimple fire my son 2 weeks before his 18th birthday, after telling him they wanted him for the next 3 years, was disappointing. I never trusted Gimple or AMC, but Chandler did. I know how much it hurt him. Really now. That seems like Chandler Riggs might have been shafted a bit. Don't you think? Then I also read that not too long ago, Chandler Riggs had bought a house in Georgia to stay close to the set. And then Gimple decides to fire him. So that purchase was for nothing. And then the one that really got me was when I heard that Chandler Riggs only found out that he was going to die in episode 8 while they were filming episode 6. Now, from what I've heard, it takes 8 days to make an episode. So, at the most, Chandler Riggs found out about this 3 weeks before they filmed it. 3 weeks. That's just not sitting right with me at all. Stephen Yun and Michael Cudlitz, aka Glenn and Abraham, they knew months in advance that they were going to be Negan's victims. I think they knew around the time that Jeffrey Dean Morgan was cast as Negan. I don't really think it's fair that Chandler found this out so soon before. I mean, 3 weeks? That isn't right. This is a kid's life. Not even a kid. He's a young man. He's 18 years old now. He's an adult now. But still, it's his life. And I don't think it's fair of Gimple to be doing this with his life. To just not even really take that kind of thing into consideration. It's not sitting right with me at all. And listening to Scott Gimple on Talking Dead after the episode, hearing what he was saying about how it's important to the story and that it means something to Rick's story, it's going to advance the plot forward, just the way he was talking about it, I wanted to punch him, if I'm being totally honest. He sounded so pretentious and so condescending. Like there was some kind of beauty in it that only he could see, and nobody else could, and everyone else was an idiot for not seeing it. I've defended Gimple a lot. But a lot of people say that he's running the show into the ground, but I haven't agreed with any of that. Like, I hear people say that the number of bottle episodes he does is killing the show, that his ideas are just too, self-indulgent. I've heard all this stuff before, and I've defended him. Because when he first took over the show, that's when I think the show was at its best. He took over for Season 4. Like, from Season 4 onward, that's when he was in charge. And Season 4 and Season 5, in my opinion, are the two best seasons of the show. Particularly Season 5. But then around Season 6, he started really getting kinda cocky about it. But Season 6 was decent, so, I'd still defend him. Season 7 I had problems with, but the way it set up Season 8 made me think that, he's got something in mind. It's gonna pay off. I've defended him so much. I am such a forgiving person. Like, I'm so forgiving. I'm one of the few people, it seems, that is with Jesus on the show in regards to not just executing all the saviors. Because I'm with Jesus on the whole, if we execute them, we're no better than them thing. So, yeah, I'm a very forgiving person, but I can't forgive this. I can't forgive him killing Carl. And I certainly can't forgive him killing Carl the way that he has. He's just absolutely screwed over Chandler Riggs. He has screwed over Robert Kirkman. He has screwed over the source material. He has screwed over probably the future of the show, because there are so many important story arcs going forward that Carl is front and center on, and I don't see how the show can still do them without him. Like, it's not just, putting another character in his place. Like, no, there has got to be something deeper. Like, there's a deeper connection with Carl. And it's just, like, it makes no sense. And honestly, I think it's the stupidest possible thing that this show could ever do. Again, if Chandler Riggs had asked to leave, I could have accepted it. I wouldn't have been happy, but again, it's his life. You can't force him to stay if he doesn't want to. He's not a slave. I could have understood that. But that isn't what happened here, and Chandler Riggs has just been absolutely screwed over by this decision, and honestly, I don't think it's fair. Scott Gimple didn't think of anybody but himself when he made this decision. He didn't think of all the people that would be impacted by it. People on the show, people who watch the show, the people who created the source material of the show. It's just not a good move. When he became the showrunner, he assumed the responsibility of making sure that it progresses the right way, in a way that is faithful to the comics. And for a while, he was. In the last season, and to an extent the season before that, I thought it was starting to maybe deviate a little too much, but I thought it could come back. But this right here is just... this is the end of The Walking Dead. Not immediately, but it's like the show is the Titanic, and the decision to kill Carl is the iceberg. It's not gonna end the show immediately. It's going to take a while, but it is going to sink, and it is only going to be remembered for the disaster. And I'm so upset that a show that I love so much has done this because of one guy. Because of one guy that was put in charge to steer the show the right way, and he didn't. He has been for so long, but he steered it right into a wall. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, Scott Gimple, I hope you get fired. Okay, so I may have triggered myself a bit there. But I mean everything I said. Scott Gimple, you've ruined the show. Maybe not immediately, but it doesn't have a future anymore. Carl was the future. And by doing this, you're saying the future is hopeless. One of the biggest themes of The Walking Dead is hope. And by doing this, you're saying all hope is lost. And the worst part is that there's no way out now. It's done. He's made this decision, and whatever happens next, the show is screwed. Because a lot of people are speculating on if Carl could survive this bite. Like, maybe he was bit by a person. Maybe it's not actually a walker bite. People are saying maybe he's immune. People are saying maybe Rick is still in the container at the trash people's place, and the whole thing is just a hallucination. If any of those things are actually what is about to happen, and Carl survives, then that's still stupid. And of course, Carl dying is stupid. So, it is a lose-lose thing. It's like a lose-lose-lose-lose-lose thing. It hurts to see something you love die. And that's what we're seeing here. That's what I'm seeing here. Alright, I've ranted enough. I'll see you next time.